Part two of my conversation with Elyse Villani illustrated clearly how her path to success was not a smooth one, and how the challenges she faced along the way were what helped her grow into the player she wanted to be. Not the path she had planned, but retrospectively, the one she needed to form the player she became. We pick up here with her describing how she maintained motivation for the nearly 20-year career span that she had. A career that spans 19 years, that's a long time. How have you stayed motivated all this time?
Well, I guess for me, I've been in different environments along the way, which I've found incredibly motivating, and there's always new challenges that pop up when that is the case. And that's something that I've really enjoyed experiencing different environments, playing with different people. It never became stale for me throughout my whole career. Um, and I don't know, I found it really easy to stay motivated because I loved the game. Like, I loved the game. And there was always things that I wanted to work on. So because there was really obvious that there was always things to work on, and my love for the game was always there, it became really easy to stay motivated. The thing that I struggled the most with was not to become super like focused on one thing, and to make sure I didn't become obsessed with something, and some other part of my game go out the window, because I'm like, "Oh, I just really want to nail this shot," and then it's like, okay, well, now you can nail that shot, but you've five other shots over here aren't very good. So yeah, and to sort of stay present, and yeah, I could become all consumed by cricket, and always think about, how can I get better? How can the team get better? And be sitting on my couch and really ruminating around training that day and stuff. So, yeah, motivation for me was never an issue, except during preseason. I mean, no one loves preseason. There's a lot of things you need to do that you don't love. The games are what you live for. Um, but yeah, probably just staying balanced outside of cricket, and switching off, especially once I sort of became captain of teams.
Pressure.
And I was always thinking about the environment and other people, and what I could do to help the group. That was, yeah, quite consuming, and yeah, something that I struggled with at times. But at the same time, I loved captaining because it gave me something else other than myself to focus on. And I loved thinking about the environment. I loved thinking about how we can grow as a team, and how I can help someone else. And, if someone else was struggling, like, what could I do? So I actually really loved that, because it took the focus away from me overthinking myself and my own game, and it allowed me to spend energy and time focusing on other things that gave me great joy. Because if I didn't score any runs, or I didn't feel like I contributed to the team that day, I felt like I could still contribute in other ways, and that's what I loved about captaining.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, how did you balance that? What else were you doing outside of cricket then to kind of keep some status quo?
Well, early on, it was really easy because, we didn't get paid for it or anything like that. So I was studying, working. We were only training a few times a week. It wasn't that
All
serious,
consuming.
in a sense. It was more of a hobby. But then, as the money sort of came in, and the expectations, and the time that you were spending on your game, and that sort of thing, it did become more difficult, because you sign a contract, and there's lots of things that you can't do. So you can't play other sports and all this sort of stuff. And, certain things you can do on holidays or not do on holidays. So
Mm,
no extreme activities. So,
mm,
and I'm like quite a sporty person, and like, I loved playing other sports growing up. So it sort of does mean that you have to really focus on cricket. But I've loved, as I mentioned earlier, the people that I've met along the way. So just investing in relationships outside of cricket, spending time doing things that fill my bucket or relax me, like reading, grabbing a coffee, going for a walk with the dog,
mm.
and just, yeah, just talking a bit of shit with other people over a coffee was always nice as well. So, yeah, it was probably the simple things that I really enjoyed, but making sure that I really booked that in because it's quite tiring as well.
Yeah,
So,
I bet.
you've got long days, you're physically and emotionally exhausted. So making sure that I actually had that stuff booked in, because although I'd get around to it and I'd be like, geez, I just want to lay on the couch and veg here. When I left any of those interactions or finished any of those activities, I always left feeling more energized.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so you found the balance, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. Looking back, what advice would you give your younger self about pressure or expectations on yourself?
Yes, I feel like I got more of a grip of this in the second half of my career, so I definitely wish I had have brought it in earlier. And I guess that was all around. Cricket doesn't define my worth as a person. How successful I am on the pitch or not on the pitch doesn't mean that I'm a good or a bad person or worth more, or people are going to love me more or love me less or anything like that. So I think probably the main thing is like understanding why I first started playing cricket and really understanding that. And I guess getting quite deep on that and then focusing and sticking to that throughout the hard times and the good times to remain as consistent as possible. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I would give my younger self, as well as like working hard, because talent can only get you so far. And I probably didn't dive into my work ethic enough until the second part of my career. I dived into the stuff that I enjoyed the most. But with elite sport, there's lots of things that you need to do that you don't enjoy, to help make you, I guess, the best cricketer that you can be and be in the best physical shape possible to be able to stay on the park and compete at a high level. So, yeah, probably those things, but definitely focusing on the things that I could control and letting go of the things that I couldn't control.
I guess I don't know. I imagine that becomes more difficult once you start getting paid. The expectation could easily shift from intrinsic to extrinsic, and I guess that like you said, going back to remembering why you did it, would be a great anchor. So, but we learn that with maturity too, don't we?
Yeah. That's it, and you sort of you want to pass those lessons on to other people, younger people that you're playing with, but ultimately, I'm sure there were older players that were trying to pass that on to
Yeah.
me, but you're only ready when you're ready, and everyone's journey is different. And I guess it's really easy to sit back and think about what I would have told my younger self, but I'm not sure my younger self would have listened, to be completely honest, and maybe I wasn't ready to listen, and maybe the greatest lessons are the ones that you figure out yourself along the way in your own time.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. Tell me, what's the best advice you ever received then?
Um, the best I think of all the bad advice I received, to be honest.
Sometimes that helps in reverse, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah, I think the best advice I ever received was um, coaches will come and go, um, and it's almost like for a long time there, I think I was trying to please coaches and fit into a certain mold that I thought that they would want and therefore pick me and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, the best advice I got was that coaches will come and go, teammates will come and go, the teams that you're in will change and shift along the way, but you've got to decide, who do you want to be as a player, and stay true to that, and what do you want your teammates to be able to say about you in the change room. um, and that was amazing because it got me focusing about the stuff that really mattered, and got my focus away from the stuff that didn't matter. Oh, this coach doesn't like me or anything like that, or
Mm,
this person's getting favored over me, or at the end of the day you can't control any of that stuff. And what happens if that coach isn't there in 12 months time? I've just spent 12 months trying to be something that I'm not, or
maybe what they
yeah,
wanted you
try
to be.
exactly. So yeah, that was definitely the best piece of advice. Like, what do I want my teammates to say about me? What kind of player do I want to be? And when I walk off the field, I guess have I stayed true to that?
So tell me, what kind of legacy did you want to leave? How did you want to be perceived and from your time in cricket?
I think for me, I wanted to be perceived as someone that people enjoy taking the field with. And I wanted to I wanted to try and be a good teammate. And I guess that's for other people to decide if I actually did that or
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I enjoyed playing cricket, and um I wanted to add something to the group dynamic or the change room, and I wanted to inspire other people to enjoy the game as well, and have fun doing it, and be connected and united as a group, and someone that I guess people would look at and say that, like, she gave it her best. I didn't want people to ever look at me and think that I was a downhill skier or anything like that. So that was probably, yeah, the most important things for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now that you've retired from cricket, what's next?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've retired from the Big Bash. Yeah, and
Okay,
I'm
yeah. So you
yeah,
keep playing?
yeah, thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the plans? What are you thinking?
Um, yes, it's a good question. I'm I'd like to hopefully start a family at some stage. That's something that I'd like to do if I'm lucky enough for that to happen. And I'd like to find another passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been, really passionate about cricket for such a long time and playing cricket. And I guess what that has left me with is that the next phase of my life that I go into, I want to find a place where I'm really passionate about it, where I work with like minded people, and I feel like I'm working towards something that matters. What that is at the moment, I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that people are really important to me, and environments are really important to me. It is probably something that I'm having to work on a little bit, and still speaking to my psych and stuff around learning to, I guess, sit still a little bit, and being in a space where you don't know what opportunities are around the corner, I guess. But I do know that I don't just want to find a job just to pay the bills. And hopefully I'm lucky enough that can happen. And I know that's not always the case, and I know that's much easier said than done and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I've just been able to do something that I've loved for so long, that I would I'd find it really difficult, and I'd be prepared to, like, I guess, follow that journey wherever that takes
Yeah.
me, and hopefully make the difficult choices along the way so that I can give myself the best chance of finding an environment and a job that, I guess, really fills my bucket, and that I'm a good fit for. So
Would
yeah,
you go back to
wait and
teaching?
see. No, I think it's in sport for me. But I don't know exactly what that looks like. But I think that although I've never taught full time, I did some relief teaching. And I feel as though what I learnt along the way through my uni degree and doing some bits and pieces of teaching is that it's a lot of lessons that you can take to elite sport, because it's all about people, and it's all about working with different people, and working out how different people work. And so I feel like a lot of that goes over to sort of that coaching, high performance area. So it won't be teaching as such, but it will definitely incorporate the skills that a teacher has.
Yep, that makes sense. Great skills.
Yes.
So, for someone listening, what advice would you give them if they're wanting to start, well, I guess probably where you're at again now, though, wanting to start something though that they're passionate about? What would your advice be to them?
Well, I'm a bit of a risk taker, whereas my dad, as I mentioned, he's an accountant and he's very conservative. So it sort of really stresses him out, because he's always been asking me, Elise, what are you going to do afterwards? You're going to have to find a job. And it really stresses him out, because, he's used to
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. But I guess for me, I want to be prepared to take risks, and think about what's really important to me, and I guess like what my values are, and finding a place that align with that. And um, I think that's the most important thing is, if I'm in a job or a workplace that feels aligned to who I am, then I think that that's giving me the best chance of, feeling as though I'm valued, feeling as though I'm somewhere that, um, you know, feels like quite, homely to me in a way. So I think it's just like being really clear on what your values are, what's important to you. And I guess everyone's individual circumstances are very different. So yeah, you sort of might have to compromise here and there, which is life. And you do that, but yeah, I guess yeah, really thinking about your values and finding alignment in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And I think that's where we get that fulfillment. And it's also, we were all born with different passions and purpose. And I think if you can find some capacity in your life to be doing that, then you're winning. So,
That's it.
last question. What does success mean to you now? And has that definition changed over time?
Definitely, it's changed over time. I've always, yeah, I guess it's funny because I think in elite sport you can have, process success and you can have outcome success, and I've always been really clear on what both of those look like. Um, and that the outcome is much harder to achieve than the process, but they're both really important, I guess, measures of success. And I think for me, it's yeah, I guess how can I guess I don't know. I don't. I think this is a bit too simple at the moment, and I'm probably still working through it. But like, how can I get out of bed each day and be excited? How can I, you know, do something that brings me joy and brings me fulfillment? And that's sort of what success is, rather than winning titles and making individual contributions, or as a captain tactically feeling like I got something right. It's a little bit more like, okay, well, how can I be, the most supportive partner? How can I wake up and feel excited to do what I want to do today? Yeah, it's just sort of, I don't know, a little bit more life.
I don't think that's simple at all. I think that's the measure that measure would make so many people happy. Like if that's what our aim was every day, just to wake up, feel good, feel joy, find something that brings us happiness, then we're winning. I agree.
Yes.
So no, not at all. Well, Elise, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, there is actually one last question. Is there anything else that I haven't asked that you would like to share with any listeners? Any advice, anything, any thoughts on?
Think so, but I guess for me, it's really easy to see, like, I was able to play for Australia. I was able to play for a really long time and win titles along the way. But when I first started playing cricket, I was horrendous. Like I was so bad. I was horrendous, and I wasn't thinking about those goals, and I didn't think those things were achievable when I first started. So I guess for me, you don't have to be amazing at something when you first start. But as long as you enjoy something, then I guess you're not entirely sure what's possible from that. So I guess the most important thing is find the things that you enjoy, and then naturally you'll invest more time into it, and then you have absolutely no idea where it may take you.
That is such fantastic advice. I love it. Just give it a
Thank you.
go. Get out there and do it. Elise, thank you so much for your time. It's just been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jules.
I think maybe I got even more takeaways out of part two than I did from part one, and that was an awesome part of the conversation. But definitely for me, the one that sticks the most is that that cricket did not define her, and no matter how successful she became, it wasn't what meant she was more valuable or less valuable. It wasn't who she was, and that her advice to her younger self was to always remember why she got in the game. And that was for the love of it, for the pure joy, and not for the accolades and not for the success. And I think that's just, it's such invaluable advice. If you missed part 1, it's definitely worth a listen. Elyse has so much wisdom to share, and hopefully you'll stick around and tune in for my recap where I share even more of my takeaways from this incredible conversation with Elyse Villani. Until next time.